welcome to Elisabeth Hogarth Designs. I'm going to jump straight in and introduce you to Enchanted Jungle, which is a premium collection from Craft Consortium, and we have a new designer called Lindsay Kelly. You can find her on Instagram and her artwork is incredible. So this is the lady herself. And I won't go into too much detail, but it says that Lindsay is an illustrator and surface pattern designer based in the beautiful city of Edinburgh. She's a big fan of bold colour and intricate details. She draws a lot of her inspiration from the natural world and traditional pattern making techniques, including block printing, paisley designs, Indonesian batik and Dutch wax print, along with quirky conversational elements drawn from the animal world. And if you look at this paper here, you can see exactly that. So I'm going to bring the designs up to you, and can you see that there's almost an element of pointillism and a little bit of, I guess, Zentangle in this artwork, but the colours are incredible. And as she says, she does draw her inspiration from the natural world and the animal kingdom. So can you see the leopard peeking out from there? So let's delve into the 12 by 12 paper pad. Some of the papers I've already used because I've had a magazine commission and more of that coming up. But we have the additional toppers that will give you a real insight into the flavour of the illustrations and the paper pads. And actually I think I'm going to take you back to here so that you can see that you have got magnificent floral blooms and you've got your tigers and your leopards peeking out from behind the foliage. You will not believe the detail that has gone into these illustrations, but let's scoot you back over the page so that you can see the additional toppers that can easily be cut out. There is a thin line around them so that if you wanted to use your scan and cut or other cutting machines, that is possible. You've got fantastic vibrant colours on a black background, and you can see how the colours really pop. The white artwork is almost like a lino print, so that might be part of Lindsay's print process. But I love the mixture of the large blooms and then the daintier flowers. This colour palette is very appealing to me. As you know, I like the greys, the yellows and the blues. But equally, I love the way that these can work together. So as always with Craft Consortium, it is the attention to detail. This is another glorious palette, and I'm going to try cutting out some of these flowers and seeing if I can make a jungle inspired wreath. Then you move on to the animals, so you've got your tigers here, and I like the way that the beast is looking back over its shoulder, and it matches. This here is an embossed sheet of paper, so if I bring it to the camera, you should be able to see that those lines are actually embossed and raised, so when you run your hand over it, you've got some texture. Another pretty background design here. It's almost like a juxtaposition, isn't it? That you've got these bold prints that are almost like your wallpaper designs, and then you've got the smaller patterns. I love the lime fresh green here, and again how this electric blue leopard is hiding amongst the foliage. This is a cracking page as well. It's got a blend of vibrant lime greens and purples and pinks, and again the black really makes it pop. And then you've got a larger set here, that this page here has been pearlised, So it's very good quality paper, but you might not use this one so much for construction, but it's a cracking design. Then we hop straight into a hot pink. Now who would have thought putting that together, but it works, doesn't it? Really clever idea. And then you've got more of the foliage with the dots in the background, and then you're back to the additional toppers at the back. But let me just show you again how these pinks and blues will work together. Let's see if I can pull that out. So you can see you've got a colour palette here where you've got your green, your pink and your blue moving into that softer blue. Then you've got pops of purple. The grey works again with the pink, and then you've got a mishmash of all of them together. I have the 6x6 papers as well, and let me just show you how the illustrations are scaled down. So this is easily usable in a scrapbook page. You might use this in a smaller journal or in your card making, but I like using a mix of the two because then you have an idea of scale. So you've got the same designs again, and you can see how well these pages here work with those larger designs. And then you've got the sweet ditzy florals here. So that's your papers. I'm lucky now because Craft Consortium are bringing out these A4 premium quality papers. So they're 20 double-sided sheet and it's 200 GSM, and these colours always match these papers. So look, even by doing that, you can see that the oranges and the yellows here mix with these florals and the tiger. And then if you move it up, you could see the green is taken from here and the blues are taken from here. It's really cleverly done, and it really makes a difference to the background of your cards or your scrapbooking pages. If I was you, I would buy 2 pads of these because there's never really enough. I'm going to leave the paper pad in the corner here so that you can see the inspiration for the elements and the embellishments. So we're going to start off with something that many of you know about, which are the toppers, and you're used to seeing the wooden toppers, which are marvellous. However, Consortium have now developed this a little bit, and we've got chipboards, so it's lighter. It does mean that you've got a white outline that you can easily cut away if you want to, and added to that, if you turn them over, you'll discover that they're actually sticky backed. So they're lighter than the wooden ones, they're equally as good quality, and you've got so many different elements, but you can see that the tiger is replicated here, and then you've got all of your floral elements as well. I'm going to keep the tiger with me because now you'll see that we've got 2 sheets of the very popular transfers. They're really easy to use. You've got a lollipop stick that you can use for rubbing the transfers off, and you can also use your bone folders if you use the rounded end, but you can see that these transfers are just slightly larger than the chipboard ephemera. And again, you've got the floral elements with all the details. So if I bring it to the camera, just look at the detail in those flowers, and even on the tiger. I like that you've got this, it's like the illustration of the tiger as well as these coloured elements. One of my favourite products from these collections are the stamps, because I do like being able to use all the different elements and add in my own colours. So again, you've got the flowers that you can see in the transfers and in the ephemera. So it's entirely up to you. You can use all the different mediums, or you can pick and choose the ones that you're most likely to use. So I'm going to enjoy playing with these, especially these flowers, and it will be fantastic to see how the detail of these stamps work out. We've got some ribbons that work well with the natural effect. So you've got the written ones that are born to be wild and free, and this writing here matches the Enchanted Jungle font. And then you've got your tiger and your leopard skin print. There's always plenty to work with. Then we've got some of my favourite enamel dots on the market. Again, the colours work perfectly. And then you've got a set metal charms, again always very high quality, and you can see the big cat's face peeking out at you. So there really is something for everyone. But before I dip into making some projects, I've got one more thing to show you that is going to blow your mind. So for the first time that I know of, we've got a 3D embossing folder. And when you see how this little beauty works, you will absolutely need one straight away to work with. So even if I use it with a piece of white card, quite thick card, and pop it through the machine, you will see just how well these work. I've got my Sizzix Big Shot here, and I'm only going to use one plate. I keep the green plate in, and I just use one cutting plate, and it only needs to run through once to work. And when you open it up, look at this. Can you see the quality of that emboss? Look how deep the flowers and the details are. It's like a piece of plasterwork in a stately home. It's absolutely superb. So I've tried colouring with this, and I'll show you how I got on, and I'm also going to try it with my brushes as well. But that's it in white. Now let me show you with, this is like a matte gold. So when you're embossing, the raised area, you'll feel it. There's a deboss side where the flowers and the leopard, you can almost put your finger into the ridges of the flowers, and then the embossed side, the images are raised. So pop your card onto the raised side and then run it through your machine. And then again, look, if we lift this up, look at the quality of that. Let me just move this out of the way, and now you can see the quality of that embossing. So a card by itself, just with that quality of emboss, will look incredible. But I'm going to try painting with it and trying a few other techniques. But that is the new 3D embossing folder of Enchanted Jungle, and I think it is an absolute beauty. So let's crack on and make some projects. I'm going to try some stamping with the floral elements of the stamp set, and I'm taking my colour palette from one of the pages in the book. If you're never quite sure what colours to use, then I would highly recommend doing what the illustrators of the designs do and picking the colours and the palettes that they do. So here I'm using my VersaFine Clair. I've got some Fantasia, some Charming Pink. I might try the Bluebell and the Warm Breeze, and I've also got Verdant, which is like a lime green. I'm going to begin with one of the smaller floral elements, and I'm also going to be using the leaf. So I think I'll go with the floral first and then add the leaf in between. This is a 5x5 piece of card, and this is a grid system that allows you to make a wreath or a circle. It's quite a simple design, but it's very effective. And I'm using my VersaFine Clair Charming Pink. So let me show you how well the Craft Consortium stamps work the very first time. Straight out of the packet, no priming, and straight away you've got this fantastic detail on your image. So I'm going to work my way round each of the points. The stamped card has now been layered onto some matching pink and the patterned paper to create a simple yet stunning 7x7 card. So I couldn't resist having another play with stamping and making patterns, because to me these are very geometric, these flowers, and I wanted to see if I could recreate some of these pattern designs that the designers are using on their backing sheets. So this is the larger flower, this one here, like the lily, and I've got my bluebell, and I'm just working up in 4cm increments. So I started at 16, I'm going to move up to 12 and keep stamping. So I'm going to come back down to the bottom to my 16cm mark, and I'm going to use the acetate just to protect the paper while I reposition the stamp. So I'm going to go on the angle, but give it maybe a centimetre's distance, and then I will reposition the stamp, take away the acetate, and this time I'm going to use the Warm Breeze. Add a scrap of card just to protect your platform, and then come back in and stamp away again. So we're going up in our 4cm increments. I'm going to use the tiger stamp and use the same colours as I did for the flowers. And you can see how brilliantly these stamps work with the VersaFine Clair. So you don't have to just stick to using your black inks, even though that is very effective. We're going to try and camouflage the tiger by using the same colours in our design. Even that design in itself is quite classy, but we'll save that for another day. I like the way that the tails meet in the middle, and then you put a sentiment through the middle there, couldn't you? But we'll carry on and we'll get those cut out. And again, with your cutting out, make the outline of the tiger as small as you can before that you go in and cut in detail. So I'm leaving a millimetre, if that, of white around the outline of the stamp, and that gives the illusion that you're cutting out probably better than it is. And then when you come to the tail, keep moving the paper and then, because you're going back on yourself, I find it easier to cut away as much as you can and keep going in the same direction, and then we'll come back to the tip of the tail in a moment, but keep going so that you can see the main outline of the stamp. And then when you come back to this part, come to the opposite direction and feel where the line is, so you can almost see the line ahead of you, and then back round, move the paper, not your scissors, and there you go. You've got a perfectly cut out tiger. So you want to do that 4 more times. And then in my finished card, I did this part off camera because the film ran out, but the finished card I took the 4 tigers and then I placed them on the cut down flowers and layered it up onto some of the patterned paper. So try and mix and match the colours so that the same colours are not sitting together. But there's your second stamped card. You remember the white embossed piece of card? Let's see if we can add some colour to this. So I'm going to use some smaller stencil brushes, and I'm going to base my colours on one of the pages again from the book. So I'm going to try some light pink up here first. I might go with a slightly bigger brush. Take the excess off, and then we'll just work it across the embossing folder. And just build up the colours. I've got the main layer of base colour on now, and I'm going to see what it looks like if I spritz some water. It may or may not work. If it doesn't, then it's only a piece of paper, and I've learnt a few things along the way. It probably looks a little bit of a jumbled mess at the moment, but once we add some darker colour and we colour in the leopard, it should come to life. So let's see what happens once we spray with a little bit of water. I'll use my cloth to take off the excess. I'll leave it to dry thoroughly, but you can see how the details are coming up on the embossing folder. I've let the water dry off a little bit. Now I'm going to try and add some colour to the leopard itself. So I've cleaned off my brush and I'm going to try the antique linen. I'm going for a muted, sort of soft focused look. Now I'm going to go in with some darker shades to try and add a little bit more definition to the flowers. You always need lighting shade. This is a little tip that you might want to try because you have been working with the paper. If you want to highlight the colours and the definition of the design again, pop it back into your embossing folder and you'll find that it will slot back into the grooves without very much persuasion. And then run it through once and it will just add that layer of definition to the products. It almost highlights in a white line the areas that you've been working on, so it's almost embossing the embossing. So I'll turn that into a card as well now. Here is the finished card. This time I've layered it up onto the pretty pink papers. You would never know that that began life as a piece of white paper. I've coordinated it with a piece of the ribbon, and other than that it didn't really need anything. This is another card that I've made with the embossing folder, and this time I used watercolour paints, pencils and pens, but I'll have to show you that one another time because it was quite a laborious process. To complete today's video, here are the two stamped cards. There's a lot that you can do with this collection. You'll have to let me know in the comments below what you think of Lindsay Kelly's designs and the Enchanted Jungle. There's plenty more that I could be doing with this collection, so keep an eye on social media. Don't forget to join the Craft Consortium network on Facebook, and I'll leave you the link below. And I look forward to welcoming you back here again soon for more craft and card making ideas. Bye bye for now.